Oh, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva, back here with another review. This one is the series premiere of the new ABC show that's part of TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. But it is not part of the Shonda Rhimes stable of productions. This one is called Notorious. And I really enjoyed the first episode. I'm sold on it. I was looking at the reviews and rankings of it so far. It didn't quite hit the mark. I think it's like at 6.4 or something like that out of 10 as far as ratings go. But I really did enjoy this. The show stars Piper Paraboo. Now, I can't remember what show she was on. Let me see. She was on some show before this. See, I knew there was a reason why I like Piper. Y'all, Piper from Dallas. I did not know that. She just better go. She just better go, okay? Covert Affairs, where she played like an undercover agent. This is the series premiere that I will be reviewing, the pilot. It premiered last Thursday, right before the season premiere of How to Get Away with Murder. Piper Paraboo plays the main character in the cable news television executive. Honey, they really didn't give us a clear name of what the name of the damn cable news. I think it's like a headline news setup. And she's a TV producer, and the show opens with a very provocative scene. And it leads you to believe that she is getting it on in her home with her boyfriend. No, honey. They trying to get it in with a quickie on her sofa in her office. Oh my God, our quickie went too long. You gotta go. I'm thinking she about to show him the door is in the front door. No, she gotta show him out the office door. Her boyfriend has just been appointed to be a federal court, a circuit judge. His name is Eric Jessup. And I noticed in the beginning, as he's leaving the office, her assistant gives him kind of the weird eye, like, girl, he ain't no good. He a dog. He a dog. He a dog. And so I was like, why is she looking at him like that? So on her way to do whatever it is she's doing as the busy television production executive that she is, she runs into her boss, and he's like, hey, here's your new PA. PA, for those of you who may not know, is short for production assistant. Ryan Mills, he's the network's president's son. Good luck with that. Holla. So her boss basically told her, my son needs a job, and you will work with him, and you will train with him. No ifs and buts about it. The star of this cable news show that she produces is someone named Louise Herrick. Baby, Louise Herrick is something else. She's a hot mess. She makes me laugh. I'm here for her character. Louise now has a new boyfriend named Imran. I think that's what his name is. And Julia was like, good to meet you. Girl, we just met him the other week when he was on your show promoting his latest rap album. Honey, she is a red-headed cougar, and she got her a young piece of chocolate tenderoni, okay? I mean, she come in Louise's office, and she all in there lounging and loud languished up with this young man while he cooking shrimp on the Barbie. And I'm like, actually, it was bratwurst and sausage. And then he asked Julia, how do you like your meat, ma'am? Boss lady, how you like your meat? I was like, I don't think she wants your meat. She like judges and lawyers meat. I don't think she wants that. I don't know. Then in comes this cutie pie named Jake, and we've all seen Jake. I'm trying to think what we've seen him in, but this man is so fine. I was like, baby. His name is Daniel Sahunta Condon. I'm not sure where is he from. What's his family history? Okay, he's from Chicago. He went to Florida A&M. He was in The Devil Wears Prada. Oh, he was on All My Children. He has quite, but anyways, he fine. Ooh, that man is fine. Jesus, bless the Lord. But anyway, he is Jake, and he is not Jake from State Farm. He ain't got on a red shirt and no khaki. He is suited and booted. He looked like he smelled good too. Okay. He's a lawyer, and I would like to work for his law firm if it really existed. I would make an excellent associate once I get my license. Anyway, he's a guest on the show today, and he's talking about this hit and run that his big time client, who to me, I think in this show they were kind of trying to do a Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, because the dude was white and the dude's wife was like Indian, which of course that means she's Asian. So I don't know, but either way, he was interviewing, and Louise was hosting this show, asking him all this stuff, talking about, did you know that your client is barricaded inside of his house, and with his wife and then a close friend and an associate. But during the taping of the show, he comes out because she's like, is he really guilty? Because allegedly what happened, the backstory is this, is that allegedly Jake's client, Oscar's vehicle, was seen fleeing the scene of a hit and run of a 15-year-old that may or may not make it. So that's why they're trying to do damage control and trying to make it not seem like he's guilty. So that's the whole point of the story, is that she just spins stories for him so that they can start getting the court of public opinion to plant the seed of reasonable doubt for any and all of his clients. The setup is real, okay? Don't believe everything you see in Hollywood. Sometimes it's just a setup, an elaborate plan. Jake goes to meet up with his client, and they're talking. And he's like, dude, have you been drinking? Are you on drugs? Because I guess he must have had an alcohol and substance abuse problem back in the day. Because he says, dude, I got my 5-year coin. You know, I've been sober ever since. But, there is some cocaine, by the way, in this compartment in my car. And I think we might want to get that, because then people might think I'm on drugs again. But I'm not. You know, it was a friend. I love when people say that. That is the most junior high thing ever. I remember I used to get those excuses when I would go interview people at the public defender's office. It was hilarious. Well, you know, I was holding a gun for my friend. Well, okay, your friend ain't the one sitting here in jail, okay? So apparently he got this cocaine in the car. He tells his lawyer about it. And he says, but I did it for a friend. We had an intervention and we're going to get him some help. I personally think, you know, after watching this episode, probably was his wife that was snorting cocaine, considering all that happened. So then this Detective Matthews comes in, and he lets him know that the 15-year-old, whose name is Nathan Lloyd, has died. And so now you're being charged with first-degree murder, or is it second-degree murder? I can't remember. So now the charges have changed. You've gone from, you know, vehicular, I guess, fleeing the scene of a crime, to now you might have a felony on your record. So in we go to, Gregorian and Gregorian. This is the law firm that Jake works at, that he runs with his brother Bradley. Bradley ain't all that cute like Jake. They might have different mamas or something. I don't know. Bradley begs his brother to allow him to run point on this case, because as it turns out, Oscar, his client, Oscar Keaton's wife, Jake used to have a thing for, that actually turned out to be someone that was like the love of his life. They have a meeting with the city councilman who's being exploited by someone who found a picture of him years ago in a Halloween costume at a frat party, dressed up in a Confederate flag outfit. But him and his date were doing the Dukes of Hazzard. General Lee, Daisy, Boss Hogg, Skeeter. You remember that? You know, it's weird because none of us, I grew up watching Dukes of Hazzard. And my Aunt Betty, rest her soul, she loved her some Dukes of Hazzard, honey. Bo and Luke, she loved them. Back to the story at hand. He said, now, while it was a costume party, but out of context, people will think that I am, racist? And I was like, yeah. So if we don't have a backstory on it, yeah, all that dude has to do is give that to TMZ and it's all over. So this dude wants money from him. So they say, okay, we're going to work on it. So they get Oscar bailed out of jail. They riding in some sort of van, and Jake is like, yo, dude, you're going to stay at this hotel because the police are, surrounding your house, and not the police, but the press, the paparazzi is everywhere. I don't think it's a good idea for you to go home, so I got this bungalow. Here's your new name, and just check in and lay low. He's like, well, what about Sarah? Where's she going to stay? Well, you had already said that you've been sleeping in the guest house anyway, so you and Sarah ain't getting along. So what's the point of y'all being in the same hotel room together, okay? Later on, we find out something is really shady about Oscar in this episode. So then Oscar's homeboy, who's another tech dude, he's like, so what can I do to help? I want to help. I was like, you look like the helpful Honda dude. Let's pimp you out and see what you can do. Really, as it turns out, the only reason Jake had Oscar stay in a hotel is because he really wanted to get some me time in time with Miss Sarah, his wife. These hoes ain't loyal. The new production assistant Ryan is pooching around trying to figure out what it is he can do. Shout out to Justin J for pooching. Y'all know I love to use the word pooching. That comes from Justin J 1232. If you don't know who he is, be sure to go check out his YouTube and his website. He's hilarious. He talks to Megan, Julia's assistant, telling her, yo, how can I move up? She's like, boy, you've been here about 5 minutes and you already trying to figure out how you can get ahead. Let me tell you something. What you think Julia do all day? You think she sat around like Louise over here roasting hot dogs with the latest boy she running around with the latest fuck boy? I mean, no. She working on news stories and breaking things, breaking news stories and stuff. So he was like, oh, okay. So then he gets this idea. He pooches up to this girl that's at a bar who's reading a book. And he says, yo, you're reading about corporate law. He says, don't let me ruin the ending for you. And so she seems to be, he was like, let me buy you a drink, girl. And so she is seduced by his wiles. But later on, we find out it's all a setup because he knows that she works for Jake's law firm. And so she gets a phone call from Jake's brother, Bradley, and they go down to the police impound to be able to get into Oscar's car so they can retrieve this cocaine that he has. And that's when the setup is real because he starts filming it right there. Like he follows them and films it. Okay. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And of course, so Julia and Eric, her man, the judge, here come the judge, they at dinner. And she talking about, we ain't gonna have dessert. He was like, no, because he gets this phone call and somebody wants an emergency bail hearing. And when duty calls, when you are working in the especially on the federal level, you just never know what type of phone calls you're going to get during the middle of the night. So Julia decides, well, I'm going to call it a night. But first, back to the office. And that's when she finds out that her assistant, Megan, has been keeping a file on her boo thing, okay? She was like, girl, why you got a file? She was like, come on, girl, spill the tea. Tell me what you know about Eric. She was like, Julia, I never really wanted to tell you this, but girl, your man a hoe. And he like hoes. High class hoes. She was like, she told me, I didn't know that your Eric was the same Eric that I knew. He goes by a name of Henry Wolf. And she was like, girl, not when you were working at the escort service. Were you with my man too? She was like, girl, yes. But it was only one time though. I was like, I guess he didn't want you no more. That's when Julia's whole world shatters. Now she's a scorned woman. Now she's going to be bitter. And there is not going to be anything like a firestorm she's going to cause. Shout out to Beyonce for they take everything I own and let you go. I'll let you go. Once Julia gets home after having the wind damn near knocked out of her finding out that not only is her man buying escorts, I said, damn, he was with your assistant. Y'all done had the same man. That's interesting. So once she gets home, here come little eager beaver running. Oh my God, boss lady, I got some news. And she was like, how the hell do you know where I live? Why are you stalking me? I've had a day from hell. I ain't got time for this. I was like, girl, you might want to take him in and see about how you can use him. I mean, Louise obviously has found good use for young men. Maybe you can too. So he tells her, oh my God, I saw them taking some cocaine out. I got it on film that's regarding Oscar Keating. And so she's like, go home. Just leave. And she's like, okay, well, fine. Just send me the intel. Send me the video. Girl, you knew you wanted that information. You ain't got to be mean to the little boy. He trying. You know, he been privileged his whole life. And his daddy wants him to get some good, hard dirt under his nails. So we don't want him to end up like affluenza kids. Okay, that's what he don't want. So Jake goes to, well, of course, Julia being the avid news producer, wanting all the Emmys and high ratings that she can get, she calls Jake and says, hey, We got it on film, somebody taking cocaine out your client's car. Do you want this to get out? Or can we make a deal? Let's make a deal, Jake says. Hell no, we don't want that to get out. So she was like, he says, she was like, well, why don't I set up an interview with, Oscar for you, he says. And she goes, no. And he says, well, what is it? Ultimately, she wants an interview with Sarah. Because people are suspicious of Sarah at this point. So meanwhile, Julia, after she says the deal is made, Sarah's going to come on the show 2 days later. Julia feeling herself, she's having what I call the Bernadine waiting to exhale moment, even though it ain't her house. But she strolled on over to a man's house talking about, I just want to talk to you for a minute. Don't talk, just listen. No, true. She says, I know that you hire escorts. You like high class hoes. And the night before your confirmation, you, Henry Wolf, hired 2 escorts to service you at the Whittier Hotel. And he was like, what are you talking about? What's going on? And I said, why is it that this is now a reoccurring theme in these shows? Like on Queen Sugar, Davis West asked, talking about, well, you know, it was only one time I hired a hoe. Like that's going to make it all better, okay? So he says, and when she confronts him with them, all he says is, what are you going to do with it? You going to tell anybody? Really? You ain't got nothing to say for your sorry self. Really? Just, are you going to tell? You should be ashamed. But you know what? Some of these men, they get in power and they can just buy whatever they want. And they think that using these names, they can just, I don't know. I don't know. So she has a moment too where she puts him in check. And she says it could be a year from now. It could be the night before your confirmation, before you're sworn in as a Supreme Court justice. But I'm going to forget about you. But you won't forget about me because I have this information. That's what's happening right now, honey. Sugar pie. I gotta go. And I'm like, girl, you ain't scared of men in power? Girl, you could end up dead to the concrete. Okay? He could have killed you right there. He could have stabbed you. I was watching some show where the police was talking to the suspect and she just stabbed her right there in the damn door. I was like, oh no. I wouldn't even told him. Gonna end up like Greg Knox from Power, dead to the linoleum. So, back to Jake and his brother Bradley. They back at the law firm still trying to get Councilman Davis off for this Confederate flag t-shirt he done been busted pooching around in at a damn frat party. Jake and his brother confront the harbinger of David's fate. And they tell him that, since you signed this non-disclosure, you technically can't use any information that you have against the senator because dude wants $500,000. And because of that, it turns out he has some sort of wine bar or something. So, of course, he needs a liquor license. And all this shit is going to backfire on him. And just to wrap up this storyline for Davis, what happens is that during a crime investigation, Jake is there and Detective Matthews is there. And so he gets Detective Matthews to come with him to meet again with his client as well as this piece of trash that's trying to exploit the councilman for money. And he tells him that although the statutes of limitations is ran, you have a wine bar, you need your liquor license. You don't want the reputation of being known as someone who has provided alcohol to minors, now do you? Him and his lawyer have a discussion, case dismissed. He don't want anything. He talking about he just going to destroy the picture. I was like, really? Really? Because, he made it try. I hate when scumbags do that. Like, they try to make it say, well, we giving you first right of refusal. So, either you give us what we asking for or we'll go on down here to TMZ or E-Networks or something. Whatever. Why don't I just get online and tell people, hey, here's a picture of me in this Confederate flag. Happened years ago when I was at a Sigma Nu party, and that's just how it went down, okay? Sarah Keating spends a night with Jake, okay? But wait a minute, I'm missing something. So when Jake sent Oscar to the daggone hotel, and Julia confronts him about the fact that we know about the cocaine, and he gets Sarah booked for the show, which is what Julia wanted all along. What ends up happening, because the police detective tells her that Julia was the one that was actually driving the car. I mean, not Julia. Sarah was actually the one driving her husband's car. That's what the traffic cams show. At some point during this episode, Louise, the star correspondent, is hilarious. She calls Julia and says, "Girl, I'm at this hotel with my boo thing, and I need some condoms and some Baileys." I'm like, you can't just send him downstairs to get there, because people know who you are. They don't necessarily know who he is. Needless to say, poor little Ryan had to go down there. He even gets invited to come in and join in on the fun, and he says, "No, thank you, I'm good." And she was like, "Maybe next time." Girl, she was going to let two men handle her. Okay. So back to the story. Jake, behind, went to go tell Sarah that she's been booked for the show and she needs to do this interview. How come he couldn't just call her? No. Instead, they reminiscing, going back down memory lane about what they used to do before she married Oscar. And then all of a sudden they in bed together. But then later on, Jake gets a phone call from Oscar talking about something going on down at the house here. He got a call from Sarah talking about come home. And then when he come in, poor Sarah, she dead to the marble. Looked like she took a gunshot wound to the stomach. I don't know. Somebody aimed center mass. So now Jake all brokenhearted because that was the last time he gonna ever get any of that good. And everybody's like, "We know how much you love Sarah." And so anyway, I think Oscar did it. But either way, they were going to hand down an indictment on Sarah because she's the one who actually hit the dude. But that's neither the kid, the teenager. So that's neither here nor there. What also happens is in this episode is they start doing some investigation about Sarah. And what they find out is that Sarah had gone to some dude that night and was getting a fake passport. And I guess she was trying to get away from something. She also had lied to Jake during the course of their conversations about the fact that the night of the hit and run, she was asleep because she had taken some Ambien. If anyone knows anything about Ambien, Ambien is one of those sleep, they're supposed to help you sleep, but they also cause things like, I forgot what it's called, but essentially sleepwalking is what it is. And so she could have been sleep driving for all we know. When Megan, Julia's assistant, tells her that this is the first time old girl, at least on the books, ever got a prescription for Ambien, so Jake must be setting you up. So then they find out that basically old girl just told Jake that to throw him off, and then Jake is all hurt because he's like, I can't believe she lied to me. So at the end of the episode, when all is said and done, Julia gets a package. And it's not good for Jake. Okay, first you get a picture of Sarah, Oscar's wife, with like a black eye. So I had a feeling Oscar seems like a little control freak, so he probably had been beating on Sarah, and that's probably why she was trying to get out of town before he caught wind of it. But I think he probably did, because he said somebody murdered her, but I'm like, I think that somebody is you. But also there's a picture of Jake and her together in bed. Ooh. Then Jake pops in all happy. "Hey girl, I'm so sorry. Yesterday was a hard day. Let's go to breakfast." And she's like, "Okay, sure." So I wonder what's going to happen in episode 2. Is she going to tell Jake that she found the pictures? Probably so. That she was sleeping with that he was sleeping with Oscar's wife. But now the question is, who killed Sarah? Will Julia tell Jake about the photos? They have a declaration to one another that they would never lie to one another. And if you pay attention in this episode, both main characters were lied to by people they thought that loved them and people they thought that they knew. But that's all I've got on this. Everyone have a beautiful night. I guess everybody's like, we don't know anything about this. But it looks like Tracy, Vaughn, Wendy, and Miss Reba signed in for a few seconds to watch. Have a good night. Bye.